Take a look at this. A few years ago, huge traps, vascular arms, superhero proportions. But now, much leaner, definitely different. And when a transformation like that hits the internet, especially with a public figure, fans start speculating. Was it for a movie role, health reasons, or something else? Well, as a doctor, I'm not here to guess or gossip. I am not their physician, and I'm not making any claims in this video. But I do want to be real with you guys out there. And you gals too, by the way, because these days, more women are using PEDs as well. These drugs have real consequences. And I want you to listen to the message in this video and pull the knowledge that I share here. I'm going to explain what happens biologically when someone transitions from high-dose performance-enhancing drugs like anabolic steroids, growth hormone, or insulin down to a true medical testosterone replacement protocol or comes off of these medications and drugs entirely. And the reality is, this kind of drop-off, it's dramatic. It's fast, and it tells us something deeper about what these drugs really do to the human body. I'm Dr. Yomi Adeyemi, board-certified urgent care physician and ringside doctor. And in this video, we're breaking down the science of what happens when the muscle goes away, the size fades, and the chemistry resets. No accusations, just physiology, history, and the truth about what's actually healthy, sustainable, and attractive. Let's get into it. Now, recently, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson showed up at the Venice Film Festival leaner, smaller, noticeably different from the ultra jacked look that we've all come to associate with him. And the timing seems to be important. This came after filming his newest movie, The Smashing Machine, where he's playing an MMA legend, Mark Kerr. And in that role, The Rock, as far as I can tell, he looks as massive as ever in the promo footage. It's tough to say for sure, the movie's not out yet, but it seems like this transformation didn't happen before the movie, it happened after the movie. And that's part, I think, of what has people talking. Now, to be absolutely clear, I am not The Rock's doctor, though that would be really cool. I'm not making any medical claims. I am a physician, but I'm just sort of commenting on physiology, and because I think that this conversation has been highlighted by this recent news. Now, what we do know is that on a recent podcast with a doctor, Dr. Mark Hyman to be specific, The Rock opened up about a recent health scare. Something apparently was flagged in a coronary artery scan, possibly plaque buildup, according to The Rock. And he said that testing later on suggested that it wasn't super serious. But I think that that may be the first important piece here to pay attention to, because one of the biggest known side effects of testosterone and other PEDs is increased risk of heart disease. Now, keep that in mind, because it's a crucial fact that we'll pick up on later. But first, let's take a pause and look at another case. You see, The Rock isn't the first massive physique that we've seen melt. A few years ago, the same exact transformation happened with Dave Bautista. Back in 2019, he dropped from reportedly around 280 pounds down to about 240. Now, that's still massive for the average physique, but it's a far cry from where he was in the huge jacked physique that Bautista traditionally had, especially back in his WWE days. Now, Dave Bautista's been a bit more open about why this happened. He said that he wanted to look more natural on screen. He's a big movie star now, obviously, and he wanted to leave that comic book body behind. Now, what he hasn't talked about, though, is exactly what he was taking to keep that physique, or whether there were health reasons behind his decision to slim down. So in both cases, these body changes may have had personal, professional, or health-related reasons, but they reveal something bigger. How much public attention follows a dramatic change in muscle mass, and how quickly the internet connects that to steroid use. Now, just because Dave and Dwayne haven't gone public with any PED use, that hasn't stopped the internet from speculating. And some of the loudest voices here on YouTube are guys like More Plates, More Dates and Greg Doucette. And definitely check out their videos if you want to hear, you know, sort of detailed speculation, and it still is speculation, let's be clear, but sort of more detailed speculation about what cocktail of medications may have been involved with these physiques. Now, let's be real. That superhero comic book physique, it doesn't come from chicken and broccoli alone. When you see that rounded, vein-popping, shrink-wrapped look, it's not just gym effort. That is supraphysiologic. And we're talking high doses of testosterone, trenbolone, dianabol, growth hormone, and in some cases, insulin. And, you know, we're not guessing in this particular case. We do have data. Actually, a landmark clinical trial studied men on different testosterone doses for about 10 weeks, and the group that got 600 milligrams a week, which is still mild by bodybuilding standards, well, they gained about 13 pounds of lean muscle. And here's the kicker. They didn't even train. No lifting, no diet plan, just the hormones. And they still packed on muscle. Now imagine stacking that with real training, a bodybuilder's diet, growth hormone, and maybe insulin on top. Well, that's where the freaky size comes from. Now, mechanistically, here's what's happening in the body. Androgen receptors in your muscle cells get absolutely saturated by these steroids. And that signals your satellite cells to multiply. And they donate new myonuclei. These are the nucleus of muscle cells. And they get donated to muscle fibers. You think of it like adding extra hard drives to your computer. More storage means more growth in this case. And once you've added those myonuclei, they don't just vanish when you stop. That's why we talk about things like muscle memory. It's not bro science, it's actually molecular. If you train in the gym for years, even if you stop going to the gym and some of the size comes down, the muscle memory is still there. You have extra myonuclei, so when you get back in the gym, you can regain that size very quickly. But let's also be fair here. These guys, Dwayne, Dave, plenty of other people out there, by the way, they didn't just sit on the couch and grow. Genetics matter a lot. And if you don't have the wide clavicles, the full muscle bellies, the round delts, you're never gonna look like that, no matter how much, you know, that you take steroid wise. These guys train brutally hard though. The Rock has said that he works out 6 days a week, often training at 4 a.m., running a full split of chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, cardio, all of it. Batista, same deal, reportedly trained twice a day during his wrestling days. Weights in the morning, conditioning in the afternoon, even while filming for movies. So yeah, the chemistry matters, but so does the grind, okay? And the blueprint that these people start with, meaning genetics. Now, I think that's why it's misleading when the average guy looks at that body and says, man, I just need to get the right cycle. It's not exactly true. You need years of consistent training, genetics, discipline, and even then, without drugs, you're not ever cracking that superhero silhouette. Now, we're not talking about going from zero to hero. We're talking about taking elite physiques and pushing them into unreal territory. That is what a physique like The Rock, like Batista is. It is unreal territory. 0.01% top physiques on the planet.
You still there? What's going on? 90% of you out there watching these fights aren't even subscribed. Now, I love being here in the octagon, believe me. I'd be here with or without you guys. But the reality is that putting together these YouTube videos with all of this behind the scene footage, it takes work, guys. Believe me, my cameraman, he's right behind you and he's sweating bullets, guys. He's sweating bullets. We put in the work because we love you guys. And all I ask in return, guys, is that you subscribe, okay? Let the algorithm know that you love what we're doing here on YouTube. That way we can keep growing and keep sharing all of this with you guys, all right? Let's get into it.
So, why do these guys shrink? Why do some physiques collapse fast? Potentially after a cycle ends, or even after years of enhanced training? Well, that brings us to the heart of this video. And I think it comes down to three main things. Number 1, hormone collapse. When you inject testosterone or stack multiple anabolics, your body stops producing its own. The pituitary gland shuts down and the testes go quiet. So when you come off of these drugs, you're not back to normal. You're what we call hypogonadal. Testosterone is in the tank. Energy drops, libido tanks, strength fades, and for some guys, that state can last for months or even longer. Number 2 here, water and glycogen loss. Steroids and growth hormone increase glycogen storage and water inside the muscle. That's what gives the tight, full 3D look. But none of that is permanent. When the drug stops, so does the pump. So the roundness, the vascularity, the inflated look, it collapses potentially in days. You can see this, by the way, if you look at bodybuilders after a huge show like Mr. Olympia, and then look at footage of them even just 3 or 4 days later. When they're not in peak condition, stage ready, it's a dramatic change in the physique. Number 3 here, contractile tissue loss. Now we're talking about actual muscle. Real protein built over months and years. That tissue starts to regress when the hormones are gone, especially if training or diet slip. But what that means here is pretty simple. What the body cannot support without these supraphysiologic levels of anabolic steroids, it disappears. All that extra muscle that requires all that extra hormone dissipates. The one saving grace here is myonuclei. Steroids actually increase the number of myonuclei inside the fibers. And once you've built them, like I said, they stick around. So this is why former users can rebound faster when they train again, even years later. And that brings us to another important point here. Like I mentioned, we've seen these guys slim down before. Even The Rock slimmed down years ago when he first broke into Hollywood. And after a few years, he was huge again, and pretty quickly. And this is the reason why. The myonuclei were still there. Even now, if the guy decided that he wanted to do whatever it took to get big again, he'd be just as huge as before, likely. All of this is exactly why medical testosterone replacement therapy at proper, regular, normal doses cannot preserve that huge, jacked, blasted look. TRT is meant to restore normal physiology, not override it. It puts you back at mid-normal levels. And that means that a physique, though it may be impressive, will not be extra, super. That's not happening on TRT. All those extreme physiques, they were built on drug stacks that push testosterone into the thousands and add on a bunch of other anabolics. And when you drop from superhuman to normal physiologic, the look goes with it. Now, the real risk here and why I'm really making this video is not the shrinking. It's what gets left behind. Because yeah, those muscles might deflate, but inside the body, that's what actually kills people. Long-term high-dose steroid use is tied directly to a whole list of cardiovascular complications. The heart muscle thickens, which you do not want. The left ventricle enlarges. You lose flexibility. Filling capacity of the heart drops. And eventually, the pump, which is what the heart is, can fail. We see arteries clogging with plaque, accelerated atherosclerosis in young men who look like magazine covers. Arteries like a 70-year-old in these guys. And you add in dyslipidemia with low HDL and high LDL, and you've got a recipe for early heart attacks and sudden cardiac death. And that, as we all know, I think, is the #1 tragic killer of these young bodybuilders and other athletes. Now, growth hormone, well, chronic misuse of this medication causes water retention. It raises blood pressure, enlarges organs, and it worsens strain on the heart. And insulin, well, this is a different beast entirely. But if you misuse it without tight control, you can risk seizures, coma, and even death from hypoglycemia. And that happens fast, by the way. It's something that we do see in urgent care. There's sometimes no warning and sometimes no second chance. All this isn't theory. Cardiologists are publishing cases of bodybuilders with dilated cardiomyopathy, ejection fractions in the 20s, and massive structural heart changes all the time, literally all the time. And these are men who were leg pressing 8 plates 2 years ago. Now they're getting implanted defibrillators before they hit age 40. Now, this is what I mean when I say that the bill comes due with these drugs. It's not always today, and it's not always immediately visible, but one way or another, the heart keeps receipts. Now, let's rewind, because like I said, we've seen this before. Remember Arnold Schwarzenegger? In the golden era of bodybuilding, steroids were actually legal, and Arnold has admitted to using them. His Olympia body was iconic, the birth of the enhanced era. And fast forward a few decades, there has been multiple heart surgeries. He was born with a congenital bicuspid aortic valve, reportedly, but people still wonder if PED use added to his complications. Today, he's much leaner, he's more functional, he's still strong, but he's more human. And then, in history, we have the cautionary tales. Andreas Munzer, famous for coming in super dry. Well, he died at age 31. His liver was twice normal size. His electrolytes were chaos. His body collapsed. Then there's Dallas McCarver, one of bodybuilding's brightest prospects. He collapsed at 26. His heart weighed over 800 grams. It's more than double normal. Of course, we can't forget about Rich Piana. He was known for being honest about his steroid use, and he died at 46. His heart was reportedly over 600 grams. Now, I want to be clear, these were not lazy men. These weren't casual lifters. These were world-class athletes who trained harder than most people can imagine. But when the size gets too extreme, the system can't keep up. The very chemistry that builds you can break you. And history remembers them. Unfortunately, not just for what they lifted and how they looked, but also for how quickly it ended. Now, let's pivot for a second. What do women actually find attractive here? I mean, let's be honest, a lot of guys get in the gym because they want to impress the girls. It's a reality. But I think we all need a reality check here too. You see, studies show that women actually prefer moderate muscularity. Too little doesn't register, but too much, it's actually a turn off. There's apparently literally a bell curve here. Attraction goes up with muscle until it doesn't. And after a point, it starts dropping off. Fit can become frightening. So what we're talking about here is sort of an athletic physique, not that mutant look. Captain America, not Bane. Strong and lean, not the guy who can't scratch his back without a spotter. And if you say it's not about what women think, I want to be huge, that's fine, I get it. But just know, most people aren't giving you extra points for being extreme. You're not becoming more attractive, you're becoming more niche. And look, if that niche is you, more power to you. But I think for the average guy who gets in the gym because they just want to be more attractive, it's important to note, you don't have to be extreme. The bottom line here, you don't need to look like a bag of steaks to be attractive. A strong, lean, balanced build goes a long way. Your heart will thank you. And the chances are, that girl, she will too. So, when you see a celebrity shrink like we have, don't assume weakness. Don't assume failure. Bodies reflect chemistry. And when the chemistry changes, the body follows. That's not a flaw, that's physiology. And that shrink, sometimes it's the healthiest thing these guys have done in years. Because normal physiques are sustainable, protective, attractive. There's less strain on the heart and other organs. I think the shrink isn't failure, it's recalibration. And in a lot of cases, it's the smartest move a guy can make. So that's the truth about shrinking after PED/steroid use. What happens, why it happens, and what it really means. What do you guys think about the recent wave of physique changes that we're seeing in and around Hollywood? Drop a comment below. Have you noticed a trend? And maybe you've gone through your own transition off PEDs. I know I've got a lot of athletes and active people here on this channel in the audience, so I'd love to hear your comments as well. And if you're chasing health, not just hype, then definitely stick around and hit that subscribe button. There's gonna be more science, more clarity, no gimmicks, That's what we do on this channel. I've been Dr. Yomi Adeyemi. As always, guys, stay dynamic. Peace.